Welcome to the BookBlast podcast and our book club discussion at Hatchard's in Piccadilly of Owlish by Dorothy Say, translated by Natasha Bruce and published by Fitzcarraldo Editions. Described by The Guardian, Owlish wittily captures a recent crisis moment in Hong Kong, exploring a discombobulating state caught between civilization and its discontents. Professor Q, who falls in love with the music box ballerina Aliss, who mysteriously comes to life, and he gets obsessed. And then he's completely so obsessed that his marriage, everything else just rather goes by the wayside. So, what do you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. It's sort of, which surprised me in a way, because I'm not really into magical realism. I think because there's quite a large element of that in here, isn't there? Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. Sort of it drew me on. I realised fairly early on, and I was very proud of myself, because my knowledge of world history is not good at all, but I realised it was Hong Kong quite early on. Yeah. But then I realised my knowledge of Hong Kong was completely out of date. I hadn't sort of kept up with what was going on. So as ever with these books, and one of the reasons I like this book club is I learned so much about Hong Kong through the pages of this, and sort of looking various things up. So I thought it was great. I won't, this is sort of jumping on a bit. Towards the end, I got a little bit lost, I think.
Yes, it does get a bit fantastical. Yes. When it all gets slightly. It's so surreal.
Yes.
But I also love the contrast. She does that really well, building up the humdrum marriage. The habits, they're almost robotic.
Yes.
So the humans are almost robotic themselves, and he goes into the university and he's really weirdly disconnected. So he's almost he's got this double life.
I kind of agree with everything you said about the magical realism and the surrealist part at the end. It's like very disorienting, I guess. I guess like more and more so the further you go, which I think is a bit unusual, right? Normally you kind of get into the groove of how the writer's trying to disorient you, but I didn't get that with this one.
No,
but I guess I know more about Hong Kong. My family's from Hong Kong, so a lot of it I was like, I recognise that, and then I looked at something else and I'm like,
that's interesting.
I'm not sure what that was. What are we referring to here?
Yeah.
Yes, and here, for example, look at this. I love this. The path was narrow, shaded by trees on both sides. A flutter of yellow swallowtail butterflies drifted past. And the group exclaimed admiringly. I love it. This is the walking group, and they're all that. Anyway, yes, as you say, there are real little, but nuggets. Some of the nuggets, I'm afraid, rather went over my head. So one had to look a lot of things up actually. But so that's nice for you. It's familiar.
Some things definitely. Sometimes I was like, I know that this is referring to something. I'm not sure what it is.
I love it.
It's something.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as the person working for BookBlast, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy that disorientation, but the writing was really beautiful.
Yes.
That I could admire. I think it's half down to this sort of magical realism thing going on that I didn't enjoy it, and I just couldn't wrap my little brain around it. And the other half is also, there's a big gap in my knowledge. I know nothing about Hong Kong or its history. And I think when you're sort of reading an allegory for something, it's supposed that you'd have some prior knowledge as to what's going on.
Yes.
And so it just didn't register with me, but you have to say that it's very well written, it's very well translated, regardless.
Very good point, and that carries you through, absolutely.
But I mean, that's partly why I do like reading translations, because you do get different ways of writing, different styles, and it sort of stretches one's mind a bit. Yes. But sometimes one wants an easy read that's beginning, middle and end, and sometimes, I like something a bit odd.
Yes.
It depends, I suppose, on one's mood. I don't know what other writers have... I mean, have you come across Dorothy Say before? Because she's quite a big writer, actually.
Yes.
She's been...
I've read some of her short stories.
Yeah.
But I think this
now,
is
what are the short stories like? Let's hear.
Similarly weird, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read
them. But they make sense somehow, because you can grasp...
I think
there is a universality, to this? I mean, So
I think I agree. There's it makes sense. It makes sense, and I think the short stories make sense as well. But I think that there's more time to understand where she's getting at in this. If you miss it the first time, it's going to like reappear.
Yeah.
Whereas in the short stories, sometimes I feel like stuff's just going over my head.
Like, okay, I've completely gone over the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then all this now that I didn't get, maybe that could, because there's this whole, the whole business about private property, all the changes also in his neighbourhood. He wandered about seemingly at random, but eventually found himself back in his own little neighbourhood where a sign on the fence around his housing estate caught his eye: private property, no unauthorised entry. The same sign appeared on all sides of the fences, lettering bold and black. He wouldn't usually have paid it much attention, but on this particular day it felt comforting, authoritative, as though it was really there to protect him. Then he noticed a patrolling security guard and felt less convinced. He wasn't carrying his own ID, and the guard looked unfamiliar. Would the guard recognise him as a resident? It was just a little thing. I mean, is that the kind of thing that happened when there were riots and problems, that suddenly there was more of a presence of law and order?
Yeah.
His breathing grew laboured. Luckily his block was nearby and the management office was right there at its entrance. To his relief, the supervisor's head was visible through the window. And also then he's rather paranoid.
You either feel the security either makes you feel secure because you're part of it and you're within it, it's your property, or it can make you in the next instant feel completely insecure,
completely anxious. Yes, and that is also here. That also what I like, the whole feeling of insecurity.
But even if you didn't get exactly what she was referring to, I think she creates like a sense of panic really nicely. Well, nicely. Maybe not the word.
Yeah.
But I felt stressed reading this.
But also because then, of course, Aliss, he has other doll.
Yes.
Doesn't he? So she somehow is the queen of the dolls.
Yes. And she comes alive.
Well, that is very creepy. And there he is parading through the Nevers streets. No, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if alive's the right. Which she.
Well, she does.
Yes, and the mid go.
But that's what's kind of nice is you have to imagine that yourself of what that really entails.
Yeah.
I don't know what Aliss looked like in your head, but to me she was kind of like porcelain doll, kind of robotic movement.
Because also in terms of my ignorance of Hong Kong, is there a place called Nevers or
So I think this
what is that? Was that
so in Chinese it doesn't sound anything like this.
Yes. I was wondering
then,
what did it, but it's
I
did it
think
seem
the
familiar
translation's
to
being
you?
very smart.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Chinese it's Morgan, which is very similar to like the word for Burgundy.
All right. Okay.
So it's Nevers in Burgundy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I read that somewhere, and it's because in Chinese it's something like never, but a sort of a longer version of it. But Nevers in Burgundy was where Walter Benjamin.
Oh, Walter Benjamin. Yeah, Walter Benjamin.
Whatever, not in prison, but he was stripped of his whatever by the Nazis or whatever it happened to him. I don't remember. But there is a place called.
And he's mentioned here, isn't he? He's mentioned.
Oh, I don't remember actually. I missed that. Here we are. I like, that's right, Valeria Island. You see that? I wonder also these names.
Yeah, some of the geography I struggled. The fictional geography I was trying to work out where I was.
But then there's some. This is very odd. The flymen. This I didn't. Yes, that is.
So I think that's riot police.
That's the riot police, isn't it? And she calls them flymen, smacking their truncheons against the window. The noise batters your eardrums. Yeah, that's right. The microphones get in line. They whip out tape measures and measure the length of your skirts. Oh my God, violation of the rules. Oh dear, all this authoritarian. No. But she's got another book. There's another one coming out with Fitzcarraldo next year.
Oh.
I can let you know. Yeah, because she is an interesting writer. But so the stories, were they completely, were they...
I'm trying
you
to
said,
remember.
can you remember? But were they relational?
I think they're much more relational than this. This is much... Still like the similar, like, disorienting style, but not about political allegory, I think.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Because
and it says she's a teacher at the Baptist University in Hong Kong,
yeah.
which I wonder how much of her academic life is reflected in here.
I imagine quite a lot,
Yes, because then there's also this whole thing about the island. Hang on, the reef of the island. There's things about being taken over.
Yes.
Summer ends in an endless spool of barbed wire and countless pairs of narrowed, mistrusting eyes. The barbed wire and the military patrolled road alongside it are from last century, laid to block unauthorised arrivals from inland Kasana. That's right, there's immigration, that's right, the easing of immigration regulations between Nevers and inland Kasana. Yes, there was that was interesting. And that's also then, I thought maybe that is sometimes out of anxiety, you really overdo becoming part of the host country, so to speak. You know, that whole thing, there was that Iranian writer who got rather annoyed that you are supposed to be almost grovellingly, thank you for taking me in and having me, and it's like, damn it, I am bringing something, you know, which is true. There is that slightly patronising grovel, thank you. So you have to assimilate so much, you kind of lose yourself in the process. You know. So there's a feeling with him maybe that when you think, oh, that's the way he assimilated so much as the perfect marriage, the perfect. It's almost suspicious when everything's too perfect. You know, it's like there's something underneath.
The main point for me was who Owlish was.
Yes.
That's
Owlish, yeah.
Yes, I guess we'll come on to that eventually.
Yes.
Yes, who is Owlish? This big brother.
Hugh's alter ego.
Alter ego, big brother kind of.
Do you get the sense that they're sort of like a similar entity?
But he deserts him, doesn't he?
But does that make Professor Q mad, or just kind of being watched, or?
Yeah, here we are, Owlish. Oh, there we are. Her husband went through a phase of using it as a pen name. Without opening the book, she carried it into the kitchen and turned onto the stove. So maybe it is alter ego. The paper instantly caught fire, sparks rose into the air, and the book grew fiery wings, which she dumped it into a metal cleaning bucket before it could take flight. Well, they love that. The paper cowered amid the flames, rapidly transforming to scorched black residue.
And there's sort of about the ish, isn't there? The ish.
Yes, the ish.
And I think there's a suggestion that the ish carries throughout not just owl-ish, it carries throughout the whole narrative, that everything is sort of ish. It is worth rereading this, actually. I should have
I think it sort of lends itself to that, because first time I was just going, what is going on?
Yeah, but as you say, Owlish, I didn't. Yeah, is it an alter ego? I also thought, is it like a big brother? I don't know. That's my imagination. I thought, is it like a sort of an alternative? I
guess that makes sense with the eyes, because there's a lot of Owlish's eyes, especially at the beginning.
Look at all of that. So
from the bit about the poetry book, I interpret it as Owlish is like himself when he was younger. Like the young professor.
Okay.
Both watching and sort of an alter ego, you become your own self-invigilator, if you know what I mean.
Well, we also do have, we go through ages. I always say it's rather like when you cut down a tree, it's got the rings. And humans, we go through, often you see in those books about the ages of man, the child growing up into old age. So we have different parts of us, if you like. We have different, is it, I don't know, it's alter ego, or, one might have a younger self or an older self, or we have different, and the different experiences. And hopefully you are sort of a whole person. And I always think with writers, that's how they are able to inhabit all these different characters in their novels. These are different parts of themselves. When you talk to novelists, sometimes it's like they are taken over by
protagonist of whatever
and suddenly they get the momentum. You think how much is in the unconscious is coming up.
I often wonder, how can you? I mean, I think about this about sort of murder mysteries, but this is what how can people immerse themselves daily in such a horrible situation?
God, well, indeed. Well, it's the darks. They've obviously got Jungian dark. The shadow is clearly. Everyone has different darkness.
To me, that makes a lot of sense.
Does it?
Because if you go about your normal life not doing that, but you feel I don't know, if you as a person feel you have this kind of darkness going on, it makes sense to kind of channel it into something
interesting.
Fictional.
What is?
Well,
indeed.
Not that I have a darkness, but I can understand why someone would do that.
And then there's the picture. I really don't know what's going. The picture with
Yes, it's true. There's some. It would be good to clarify. I
I
agree.
think it had something to do with the doll. They were kind of naked in the picture, and
That's right.
Oh.
And he painted it originally a long time ago.
yeah, it was in his office. And
Yeah,
then it was,
president at the university, and then he got called in.
But also then there was a shock factor to it.
Yes.
There was all the shock factor about the picture.
Mm.
So it's like, yes, he had this, but you see that again, here we go, suddenly, there we were talking about people throwing bricks through windows, writing crime novels, and the repressed, that's all the sort of in therapy and all that, the sort of Jungian, the dark shadow. Maybe he, there we are in a way, it's true, he's got this other shadow, it's like almost his shadow life, his other life. Yeah, and people, and they do say that actually with actually criminals, they're acting out some other part of themselves. It's true, yes, the picture there is that was...
I think the only hint you get about it is in the, because there's those 2 chapters that are in second person, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I think it's one of those,
Hang on.
like the you of that chapter is on page 200.
You and your shadow will chase those memories of yours and pin them down in paint, yeah. Painting will reveal to you everything that time has concealed. A long gone dream reaches out, grabs you by the throat. You remember the professor's name, look him up online. He's still teaching at the same university. It's easy enough to find out his office address. You pull an envelope with the university insignia from your junk pile and slip a painting inside.
So whoever the you
Yeah,
is,
so you...
is the painting person for that.
Yes, it is. Yes, that is... I think perhaps I got a bit lost.
Yes. Friends, yeah. Because the chapter starts off sort of Maria, isn't it, with her friends or something.
I think, yeah.
But then, as you say, it could be any.
Could be anyone, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's supposed to be like...
Yeah.
There is that split. I mean, he's got the split line. It's all that everyone the splits. So maybe it is. We were saying we have many different parts and different lives and different fantasies.
Yeah, that's right. And
you might go home suddenly and do something completely different or be off.
Yeah. I mean, there's Alice is a real person, or is she a doll?
Yeah.
It's
Professor Q, is he owlish or not? And Maria is...
In the real professor, I like the real professor and Maria. But also Alice, the fantasy thing. There is also that whole thing about having an affair after a certain age. So maybe also you feel the wife thinks, oh, well, it's a doll, so what? I'd be more threatened if it's actually a real person and a real affair.
I also think it's interesting to have, so what's going on around him is so real in terms of that, like, it's serious, it has consequences for the future.
Absolutely.
It then makes sense that it's contrasted completely with this, like, absurd fantasy
It's
of
weird,
like having sex with a doll, or whatever it is. But I guess it kind of then comes back to the dividing of the selves. We've got something that's so rooted firmly in the everyday and something that's...
He's in this marriage and he feels trapped, so you feel free to go and do what you like. Because that whole thing about what he does with her arms, it's a whole description of how
it's very detailed.
Very detailed with the body of the doll, and you think, whoa, it's a bit,
It's a bit body horror.
It's just slightly going into the freaky, So there's a control thing going on there. And a lot of it is about control. Who's controlling who, the authority, there is that... And also who's out of, and then he is out of control of the church. I mean, also the fact that there's a church was quite interesting.
And there was a lot of I would say European imagery.
Religious
I could not
iconography.
pull it apart. I have no idea what's going on there, but I was definitely there.
But exactly, what was? I mean, is there a relationship? Because obviously everyone has their religions and spirituality and stuff.
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought, is there a symbolism there to do with a certain church religion? And is it symbolic? Is it not? Is it symbolic as a sort of rebel belief? The way you have the main state religion and faith, and then you might have splinter.
Right.
I was wondering, is there something? Or the way I know, like in Middle East, you do have Christian churches, but sometimes they get bombed or something. I was thinking maybe in the Far East.
Not as far as I know.
I mean, it's
I think
usually Buddhism or
probably the
Christianity's the main one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is. There's no.
But maybe it just comes down to colonialism in any.
Well, exactly.
Always some colonial.
Worship it. Some people worship the colonially. It was like that.
Well, also the fact that it's a church and he's worshipping Alice is a bit. But anyway, there we are.
Yeah. But they almost seem to, at the end, have got Maria and Professor Cute seem to have sort of gone back to...
Sorted it out.
Yeah, and gone back to where they were in a way, doesn't it?
It's almost like they've had a blip in the...
Yes, that's right. She smiled briefly, then remembered she still had a report to finish.
Yeah.
Before getting back to work, she glanced at her sleeping husband. That business with his so-called mistress now seemed like a long-ago joke. It's all fine, you know.
Well, there we are. Good so-called mistress.
Is that
So-called.
happy ending? Yes.
Yeah, the doll. We don't want to... You know, it's true.
Yeah.
And they go back to their... So that is interesting. Yeah, they go back to their whole routine and their whole...
Everything's the same, but everything's different, sort of thing. Same with a... Yeah.
Here we have Aliss, who's come alive, arranging the Dolly Girl. Dolly Girl is an interesting translation. I wonder what it was in Chinese.
I can't remember.
I'd love to know, actually, because the names are always rather evocative.
Yeah. The weird one
You
for me
know?
was Owlish, because it's not Owlish in Chinese. It's,
So what is it in Chinese?
It's owl-headed cat.
Oh.
Because there's like a small chapter, like a few lines on that, I think, when Owlish is first introduced.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
But
But yeah, it's owl-headed cat, which is like, how do I say this? It's like the reverse of the word for owl.
Yeah, okay.
Because the word for owl in Chinese is cat-headed
Owl.
Wow.
bird, I guess.
Yeah.
Cat-headed bird, which kind of makes sense, right?
Yes,
Like
it
Yeah, I
does,
suppose it
actually.
does.
So this
Yeah,
is like
it
the
does.
reverse
Yeah,
of that
yeah.
would be or maybe it's more like a bird-headed cat rather than owl-headed cat. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Overall, you were pleased to have discovered it, or
Absolutely.
you know?
I mean, I sort of think, I know I'm not a huge dedicate of watching the news, but we don't hear much about Hong Kong.
No. Yeah, that's true. No.
I think that if things had gone like a bit historically differently, the 2019 protests, they were shut down by COVID more than anything else.
Right.
So I think that's
yeah.
kind of almost like almost outside of how politics works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But the word terrible, I do remember seeing terrible scenes
Yeah.
on
I
the
remember
news
watching,
about the students. There was they were all sitting in protest outside and they were all being rounded up, and it was terrifying.
like an unbelievable number of students,
Horrendous.
or like ex-students, are now like exiled. Like they
Really?
live in the States, they can never go back to Hong Kong.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
So what, they're banned?
Yeah.
Really?
Their
And
passports
they're in the
have been
States now?
revoked.
Well,
Yeah.
now in America they're doing
Yeah,
similar...
exactly.
Colombia with
Yeah.
and you know the only reason that because I did we did an event at Veranda Books with actually two Chinese translators, one of whom was going to be here but she obviously couldn't get in from Brixton. The other one, she teaches at NYU, and so the only reason NYU is fine, it's safe, is because Trump's son is there,
Really?
so it's protected from any kind of the climate of fear and anxiety. How universities and academia can come under attack wherever. If you get a regime who doesn't like, you've got to teach according to what, because I know in America they're banning books, they don't kind of control, they don't want you to think for yourself really. So that was something in here that I don't know, I thought that the climate of fear, anyway.
Yeah, and I did see a photograph with lots of yellow umbrellas, which was a
That's right.
student
Yeah.
protest,
Yeah,
wasn't
definitely.
it?
I think that was,
Yeah.
I can't remember which one, if it was 2015 or 19.
Yeah.
But that's what I remember when you were talking about the yellow flowers.
Yeah.
I was kind of
yeah.
thinking, it might not be.
But
because
so a
it's
lot of the
Right.
students, I mean, so what's happened to the universities? Are they all very controlled now?
I
Or are they free to learn?
What's happened in Hong
do you
Kong
know?
now, the protest started was because of the extradition bill,
That's right.
which was, like, it would change how... So before, if you committed a crime as a Hong Kong citizen in Hong Kong, you'd be tried under Hong Kong law, which is, unsurprisingly, vastly different to Chinese law.
Well, indeed.
But the
changed to
extradition
China.
law would have changed that, so that if you committed a crime that was like essentially more severe, you could have been charged in China. I think that's been like the protests were against that, and that has kind of been rescinded. But like how do I say this? The measures that the government undertook to like quell protesters and things were never really stripped back. So it maybe they avoided the main problem, but they caused some other ones, which is probably how it always happens.
Interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Owlish by Dorothy Say, translated by Natasha Bruce, is published by Fitzcarraldo Editions. It is available from our online shop at bookshop.org UK, or else you can get it from Waterstones, Foyles, Daunt Books, Hive and Amazon. Thanks for listening.